G'day guys, Steve Morgan here, and I've got on the phone Australia's favourite bass fishing pro in America, Carl Jocumsen. Carl, we only spoke a few weeks ago, mate, and at that point you said, I've got the opportunity to qualify for both of the major open style championships, mate, and you've slam dunked it in. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, pretty awesome way to end the season. Well, my season's not ended yet, but we finished the FLW tour. I think we ended up in about 49th in Angler of the Year, so I missed the Forestwood Cup again, only by a few points. So, I had, another good year, but just not what I'm really striving for. So the season was kind of done, but we looked at the FLW Open Series, and I already jumped in the first two Bassmaster Opens Eastern Series, and I was sitting okay in the points, and instead of kind of dropping the head and thinking, well, another tough year and hope I can do it next year, we sort of put a new game plan together and new goals, and we made it that I wanted to be the only angler to make both championships on the Bassmaster Opens and then the FLW Opens. And we just stayed up north and fished almost every day and just really put my time in on the water. And after six events, we made 6 checks in a row and had the best finish to the end of the season that I've ever had, and just had amazing results and consistency the first time in my career over here. So it was a great feeling. But I think we spoke just before Thousand Islands. So I kind of had back-to-back tournaments. I had the FLW Open on Thousand Islands, and then we left there and headed down to Douglas, and I had my, for the final Bassmaster Open, and at Thousand Islands, as you saw, I had my best ever finish. I came second. Just missed out on my first win, but had my best finish here in the US and came second in that Open.
Yeah, we talked after that one, actually. You gave us the full...
Did we?
Yeah, you did. We had pictures of you with your little trophy, mate. I saw 1,100 photos of you in your second place trophy. It was awesome.
Mate, that's a big trophy, mate.
No, real popular. So you were headed down to Douglas, and you told me, you said this is the Douglas tournament is the Ott Defoe benefit tournament because he wins it every year, and you were spot on. He won it again.
I know it was it was kind of frustrating. They let the custom style boats back in the tournament again after banning tunnel hulls and jet drives the year before, and then a ton of guys brought a bunch of custom boats again and somehow got through the loophole of what they were, and they were again allowed to run up the river, which was super frustrating for me because we kind of packed up that night and drove 1,000 miles and got to Douglas, and it's going to be tough, but I'm like, at least everyone's on the same playing field this time. But we weren't. They were all allowed up the river again, and it's a super strange lake. It's Douglas Lake in Tennessee. It fishes incredible, like all year round. Big bass in schools. You can catch them on a jig, on all sorts of different ways and huge weights. But in the fall, this time of year, it just gets to be one of the toughest lakes, like in the country. Like you can go days without getting a bite in the lake, but up the river where the river runs into Douglas, it's amazing, and they catch them up there. But you need a boat that runs in less than 6 inches of water just to get up there. It's super dangerous. You need to know that everywhere how to get, and they basically rock hop almost all the way up there, and you just can't compete with them in the lake. You can't even come close. So I think about 20 boats or something probably had boats that could get up that river, and I thought I needed a top 12 to have any shot at making the championship. I knew I had to get inside about the top 14 in Angler of the Year for the year to do that. So with all that, I just put my head down and I fished hard and tried to do what I could, and I found a kind of decent little bite up a couple different areas, and then using that Molex football jig down some little isolated riprap sections, and that's something that I've just done well. I got my first top 12 in a PAA there like years ago.
Yep.
Doing the same kind of thing, and on the first day I had 8 pounds. I was in about 70th, I think, and I lost 3 really good fish. So I should have had about that 13-pound mark, which would have had me right up there. And then again, at the phone, all the river guys were all in all top 10s. And the next day, I went for less bites but bigger fish, and I kind of put them in the boat and end up having 13 pounds on an even tougher day. And it got sort of tough for everyone, and I jumped up into 21st, I think. And just the way it all fell and the way the points, fell, I end up jumping from 24th in the Angler of the Year points into 13th. And so we came back to the camp, and I had no idea, and we had full plans to fish the US Open at Lake Mead and do this big western trip and drop our camper off and pick the new one up, and we had sort of everything scheduled. And John Hunter, one of the guys we fish with, until he rang me and he's like, I think you're going to get in the championship. And I was like, no, I was like 24th and I come 21st. And he's like, no, and we worked. So we sat down and we did the math and worked out all the points and figured I was in 13th, and with the count back, I was going to get in. So we're now in both championships, which is pretty amazing.
That is amazing, and I saw on social media Kev Short gave you a bit of a thumbs up for that, and you're the only guy that did both. Give us a rundown of the two events, where they are, when they are, what sort of fishing you're going to have.
Yep. So the Bassmaster Open Championship is the first one, and it's in the middle of October, so we've still got
couple of weeks,
about 3 weeks before we head up there, and then and it's at Table Rock Lake in Missouri. So I've had a fair bit of experience there. Fished a lot of tournaments there. Had some good finishes. Definitely suits me and the way I like to fish. So it's for me, it's a win it or nothing event, because I'm 13th in the points. There's only 26 anglers fishing it, but first prize is a boat motor trailer. I think it's worth about $50,000. Then it's a $10,000 cash prize. You get entry into the Classic and an Elite Series berth.
Yep.
So to win it is solid. It's amazing. But then after that, they pay Angler of the Year. So if I come second in the tournament, I'll only jump up a few places, and I'll just get like a 10th place finish check, which I think is about $600.
Yeah.
So it's not good. Basically, I'm going there not to try and jump up in points. I'm going there to try and win it, because it's sort of a win or nothing type of event. But I got a 1 in 26 chance, a shot at about as good a prize as you could imagine.
Well, that's pretty good, mate. What about the Costa Series?
Yep, so I'm looking forward to that. And then about a week later, we head down to Gunnersville in Alabama. So definitely got some good memories from there, from the Elite Series, and fished plenty of tournaments there. So that's the FLW Open Championship. It's the end of October, start of November. That'll be the final event for me for the year, and that's on Gunnersville, 3-day event. Really good, same sort of prize for first place, can make the Forestwood Cup. And if I can finish strong, it could be just an amazing start to next year. I got a very good chance to make the Classic, make the Forestwood Cup, have a guaranteed invite back to the Elites if we want, and all sorts of stuff. So a couple of good finishes now, and we've already had the best year we've ever had now, and we've still got 2 championships to go, which is a pretty cool feeling. Yeah,
look, you're definitely in the right mindset heading into those championship events. Now, that's an interesting segue there. You said you're looking forward to another, maybe a Bass Elite invitation. There's a new kid on the block when it comes to tournaments. We've been reading a lot about it, mate. Give us, from an angler's point of view, Tournament Fishing 2019 101 for an elite angler. What does it look like? Tell us about the new series and what it's all about.
Yep. So from my point of view, for the angler, it's about to be the best few years for a bass angler here in the States. So MLF has come up with a brand new tour that is competing against the Bassmaster Elite and the FLW Tour Series, and it's looking like they've got huge prize money, right through the year, and some pretty credible things. A lot of TV coverage. And no one really knows what they're offering, but it's pretty awesome because they've got about 30 guys signed up already, and a lot of big hitters from the Elite Series. So guys like Skeet Reese, Edwin Evers, big names have already signed up that will no longer fish the Bassmaster Elite. But it has been incredible because Bass has responded really well and come up with a totally new plan, and a lot cheaper entry fees, better prize money, and just really looking after the angler as best they can. So there's a lot of exciting opportunities as a professional bass fisherman right now. It usually I'd be waiting right now to sort of be told where I was fishing, how much you were paying, and how much was getting paid back, and you had to just sort of look at it and take it, whether it was good or bad. And it was usually not very good, and now there's some really, really good opportunities for the angler. So I'm excited. I don't know which way I'm going to go. We're kind of just sitting back and just seeing where all the cards fall and seeing who's going to look after the anglers the best and what's going to be best for me and Kayla, and just and make a decision when we can. But until we see the full roster of what's going to happen over there, we really just don't know how it's going to fall. But I think it's going to be any tour you go to right now is going to be pretty awesome. Bass fishing's about to hit its real peak over here. So
tell us then, there are 3 tours. Have you got invites to all of them, or how many? Can you literally pick which tour you want to do? Where are you situated with those 3 tours?
So I'm 13th in the points in the Bassmaster Open series, and they're going to take 5 guaranteed guys from there. But I think there's 5 or 6 Elite Series guys in front of me already. So that means if I finish inside the top 10, I'll get a guaranteed invite. So I'm right on the edge of having a guaranteed invite anyway from the Elite.
Yep.
I've got my invitation back from the FLW tour for finishing high in the AOY points, and I haven't heard anything from MLF, but I've heard that my name is on the list once they see where the cards fall with who accepts and who doesn't.
Right.
So
but you'd be on Boyd Duckett's speed dial anyway, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'll definitely get a call from him. I'm surprised he hasn't already called me. So, yeah, it's I think it's going to be interesting. I'm hoping, I feel like we could potentially have an invite to all 3 by the time the dust settles with all of this. But if not, it would be nice to be able to have a guaranteed invite to the Elites and FLW, and then sort of figure which one's going to be the best choice for me and Kayla.
Yeah, and my thoughts about this are the fact that I think Bass and FLW should synchronise their schedules so that anglers can be true 2 tour anglers again. Wouldn't it be great to be able to fish the Elites and the FLW series in your position?
Yeah, I just do well when I'm continually fishing, not having big breaks in between. So I like to stay busy and stay fishing. So the FLW schedule looks amazing, and so I really like their schedule and would like to do that. But also, the Bassmaster Classic and becoming an Elite Series angler's been a dream, since I was a kid. So having the opportunity to get there is also pretty big. But Bass is coming up with a new schedule by the look of it, a bit more angler friendly, and not driving from one side of the country to the other and back and forward. And I think it's the anglers have finally got a voice, and it's and they're listening to the anglers and what works for us and what doesn't, and stuff like that. And that's just good for us no matter what. And having that little bit of extra competition in there is what it took.
Now, what do your big sponsors think about this? Scosh, Hobie, Bass Cat. What are their positions with it?
Yeah.
Like, which way are they pushing you towards fishing?
Well, I haven't really I've only spoken to a handful of them because I'm not really guaranteed into the an invite anywhere right now. But I'm sure it's going to be whichever's got the best coverage. I think they're going to want me back over on the elites would be best. But also at the same time, when I left the elites and had to fish the FLW tour, my sponsorships never changed at all. Like, everyone still stayed behind me and backed me and just wanted me to keep doing what I was doing, which was a really cool feeling. So I think I will talk to them all about it, but I think they'll be happy with whatever we choose to think that's going to be best for us.
There you go, mate. I'm trying to ask you all the difficult questions, but you've got answers for all of them, so I sort of like that.
Yeah. Keep them coming.
Okay, here's the next question. We've got the Bass Australian Open sponsored by Storm happening. I think it's the same weekend as your Bass Open Championship at Lake Glenbourne. We've got 38 or 39 anglers entered at the moment at $500 a head. They can keep a 5-fish limit of Australian bass. 100% payback down there. Do you think we're going to get 50 boats to that?
You better. I think that'd be awesome. That sounds like about as good as it gets for Australian tournament fishing. That is awesome.
Should have maybe 50 boats would have a $25,000 prize pool there, which is pretty good for the Aussies, isn't it?
I think the one time you beat me, just that one time, we had like 80 boats at that at the ABT.
Yep.
One of the ABTs at Glenbourne, you won. I think we had 80 something boats there for that one.
That's right. I retired after that as a bass fisherman.
Yeah, that was good. Good call.
It was the best call of any bass angler in Australia. The way you did after that.
But I'd love to see the bass fishing get back to that, and I'd love to see the Aussies support that, because that sounds incredible for the Australian, just Australian tournament fishing, and Glenbourne can handle it, and it looks like it's fishing awesome down there, and to have that sort of payback and prize money and be able to keep 5 is that's a cool format. I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
That's right. I think Kevin Short said if he wasn't at the US Open, he would be out here doing it, because he really enjoyed fishing the Australian Open on Cania last year. Another bit of bass fishing news from Australia for you was the $10,000 prize check went to Sean Falkenhagen, won the Bass Pro Grand Final up at Somerset on the weekend. 12 fish for nearly 15 kilos. So it's good to see the 5-figure checks coming out, mate. I know you probably get those for coming 50th in the Bass Elite, but for us, big dollars over here. So good to see you. Yeah. Good to see you still abreast of it all.
Yeah. No, I always following everything on Facebook and Instagram, and keeping up to see who's winning what and what you guys are doing. I like that you keep innovating, moving forward, and trying new things. And that 5-fish limit has been a long time coming. It's going to be cool to see it happen. Awesome,
mate. Final thing, just a shout out for anyone who's watching this on our YouTube channel, wants to follow you. What channels can we follow you on?
The best couple are just my Instagram and Facebook, just Carl Jocumsen on Instagram and Facebook, and then just my website. Karen Fontaine, she keeps up my website. She does an amazing job.
Agreed. Yep.
And she's always keeping up with all the new tournaments and all the new dates there. So that's just all the W's, carljocumsen.com. And that's your best place to see the schedule, see what I'm fishing, and kind of keep a bit more up to date with what's going on.
Awesome, mate. Let's have another chat to you when you've decided what your 2019 fishing future is.
Yeah, I think I'm going to know in the next couple of weeks. I reckon about maybe by the end of this week and sometime towards next week, things will start to get locked down. But my new Bass Cat's ordered. We're getting a new Lance, the new 1172, so we're going down to pick that up, and a lot happening in bass fishing. The sponsors have been amazing, and just really, really feeling good after eight years of grinding as hard as we can. We're still grinding, but things are looking good, and we're just excited to be going into another year.
All right, mate. Well, we'll talk to you then.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. See ya.